Welcome back, soulmates. Good evening. Good evening. Okay, we're about to draft our pants trousers, and there's some lines that I've taken, our vertical lines, and the tools that we're making use of is our hip curl, our pattern master, our marker, and also our tape measure. Here's our tape measure. Now the next thing to do is this. On our pattern sheet, from the upper edge of our pattern, I came down 3 inches to secure our top line, which we'll be using as our waistline. So I came down 3 inches from our top edge. Here is our 3 inches, and that will be our waistline. So let's write it out. Let's write it out. So this is our waistline. Now, the next when we are drafting our skirts, remember we'll take our ape line, so we'll do same cutting, while cutting our pant trousers. Now, from our waistline, we place our tape measure to get 9 inches. From our waistline, place our tape measure to get 9 inches, and that forms our hip line. Because the plus side, we are using hip 44, so our hip line will be 9 inches. Our hip line will be 9 inches, so this is our hip line. Then our crouch depth for this our client is 11 inches. Our crouch depth for this is 11 inches. So I've measured from our waistline to 11 inches. So this is our crouch depth, which I've explained on our first video. Then the next line we want to secure is our nail line. But in your own case, you can take the normal measurements. So this is our M line, which is the length. So taking that, so we want to insert our measurement. Now let's take our line here. We measure our hip divided by 4. Our divided by 4 is 11. So we're going to be measuring 11 inches on horizontal line. So 11 inches horizontally. These are 11 inches. 11 inches, stopping at the crouch depth line. We're stopping at the crouch depth line. I will connect the lines. Okay, so connect our line. So this is our line. Now the next thing to do, I said for the front, when we're taking the first video, we explain our calculation on how to get our front crouch extension. So our front crouch extension, after dividing our 44 by 20, we have 2.2. So 2.2 is our 2 to 8. So this is our 2 to 8. 2 lines after our 2 inches. So that is our crouch extension. That's our crouch extension. And I will go 3/4 here. 3/4 here, just to secure how to curve our crouch extension. So we want to curve it. That 3/4 just serve as a guide for us to know how to curve that part. So let's take our waist measurement. Our waist measurement is 38. So 38 divided by 4 is 9.5. So our waist circumference is 38. When we divide it by 4, we have 9.5 plus our dart intake, which is 1 inch. We have 10.5. So we measure our 10.5 from here, not from here. Please don't measure your 10.5 from here. Measure it from the center front. This is our center front. CF, center front. So take your measurement from your center front. I'm going to measure 10.5 on our waist. 10.5, so our 10.5. And I will connect the line to the hip line. From the waistline, I'll connect it to the hip line. This way. So now the next thing to do is to look for our crease line. Now how do I get our crease line? Our crease line is always from our crouch extension to our end of the, well, oh sorry, I said you take from this edge, you measure 4 inches. From this edge, measure 4 inches in. So this is our line of where our 4 inches starts. We measure, we want to get what is there. We have 13.5. So 13.5 divided by 2 is 6 and 6/8, which is 6/8. This is our 6/8. This is what we mean by 6/8. 6/8, which is 6.75. So these are 6/8. So our 6.5. 6.5 is 13. So 2 lines after our 6.5 is our 6/8. So we measure. We have 6/8 and our 6/8. So that's our midpoint. So we're going to do the same thing on our nail line. We're going to do the same thing on our hip line, on our hem line. And we'll connect the lines. So we'll connect our lines. So this is our grease line. So this is our crease line. Sorry. Our crease line is the line that enables our front pattern and our back pattern to balance. Our front trouser and our back trouser to balance. So that's our crease line. Now the next thing to do is to insert our measurements. Our round nail. On our nail line, we're going to be inserting our round nail measurement. Our round nail measurement is 21. So 21 divided by 2 is 10.5. So I'm going to be putting 10.5, but I'm not put my 10.5 straight because our trouser had to have shape because the pant trouser. So I'm going to divide the 10.5 by 2 using this crease line as a guideline. So our 10.5 divided by 2 is 5 to 8. So let's see, our 5 to 8 is the 2 line after our 5 inches. So this is our 5 to 8, and measure 5 to 8 again is our 5 to 8. So if we put our tape measure, we see that we have 10.5. So for the hem line, so we're going to use our round ankle measurements to get the shape on our hem line. Now our round ankle is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So 8 divided by, which is starting 4 inches. Yeah, so using our crease line as our guideline, this is my 4 inches and this is my 4 inches. So let's connect them together. Okay. Okay. Connect this one too. Trouser is getting ready. Woo! Very easy and very simple. Connect the line. I like shaping my trousers. I'm going to be using our pants curve to shape it. I'm going to be using our pants curve to shape that area. Okay. So see. Okay. Now we want to insert our dart intake. We added 1 inch for our dart intake, so we'll divide the waistline by 2. Our waistline here is 10.5. If we divide it by 2, we have 5 to 8, and this is our 5 to 8. I like taking my crease line up to the hip line. Now 2 inches up from my hip line is where my dart leg will stop. 2 inches from my hip line, that's where my dart leg will stop. So I like having accurate measurement. What I will just do from this point, I'll measure what I have here. I have 5 to 8, so I'll measure 5 to 8 here too, just to have accuracy of my measurements. So 5 to 8. Okay, 5 to 8. Okay, so I will roll, connect it together, and roll. So our dart intake is 1 inch. So we're going to be putting 0.5 here, 0.5 here. So that's what I'm going to be inserting. 0.5 here, 0.5 here. So like that. And very interesting. So here's our darts. These are our darts for the front. Not for our center front. Now, to give our trouser balance, I'm going to be taking ½ inch up at the side seam, ½ inch up at the side seam, ½ inch up at the side seam, and connect it to. I'm using my hip cuff to connect it. I connect it to the dart point. I just want to have it. I just want to make it look like we're shaping our front skirt. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to shape it. Let me take it up first. Okay. So I'm trying to shape. Okay. Just like you're shaping your front skirt. So these are our front trouser. These are our front trousers. This is the end of our front